From recruiting actors to perform orgies to unraveling the physically challenged for sport. The creme de la creme of ancient Rome was as depraved as the darkest corners of the human psyche. And this is their story. We kick off with the orgies. Ancient Rome was known for its decadent lifestyle, which isn't surprising. However, one man who took these immoral parties to a whole new low was King Tiberius Claudius, nicknamed the Dirty Old Man, essentially the Hugh Hefner of his day. According to the Roman historian Suetonius, Tiberius Claudius frequently organized parties where he recruited performers to exhibit various lewd and obscene acts. He even kept an entire library of books that illustrated the exact obscene act he wanted his performers to emulate. Before each party, he oriented the performers on which scenes he wanted them to depict, and then showed them the illustrations from his library. This way, he ensured the actors did exactly what he wanted. Some historians claim he even pasted some of the drawings in the changing rooms for the actors, so they wouldn't forget what part they'd be playing. One wrong move, and you lose your head. This sounds like something from the mind of Stanley Kubrick in Eyes Wide Shut. Have you heard of some of his disgusting acts? Not Stanley, but Claudius. If we've missed any, feel free to educate us in the comments section. Aside from the obscenities, the cream of ancient Roman society loved to display psychotic tendencies, like Emperor Caligula, who talked to his horse. No, your ears didn't deceive you. He would hold the occasional banquet where he would invite his patrons to sit around the horse, known as insatiable, and engage it in a hearty conversation. It was a scene to behold, as full grown-ups pretended to understand the neighing of a horse and nodded in agreement to whatever they perceived the horse to have said. A bit like watching an episode of Mr. Ed. But that isn't the weirdest part. A story was once told that Caligula made his horse a senator. While that has no historical backing, we know for sure that Insatitus had at least 18 servants at his beck and call. These servants were assigned specific duties, including cleaning the horse's ivory manger, polishing his precious stones, and ensuring his royal attire was sparkling clean. Though Caligula's antics bordered on psychosis, Nero's shenanigans could be best described as complete idiocy. For starters, the crazy megalomaniac divorced his first wife, beheaded her, and handed her head over to his second wife so she could gloat over it. Then, when he got tired of his second wife, he kicked her till she breathed her last. The weirdest part? She was pregnant with his child, and we've not even begun to scratch the surface of the idiosyncrasies that characterized Nero's 14-year reign. And you thought Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones was a cruel sadist. If you've made it thus far with us, then you must be enjoying our video. So why not give us a like and subscribe, and we'll keep creating these interesting videos just for you. Thank you. Having an insatiable desire to end whoever disagreed with him, the bloodthirsty Nero ordered the assassination of his mother. He later instigated the burning of Rome and sang his heart out while the eternal city went up in flames. While you might be thinking that's just crazy, the rebuilding process was even crazier. First, the emperor compelled all the wealthy men in the city to name him as their next of kin, then forced them to take their own lives. This way, the crazy emperor inherited all their properties and used them to rebuild the mess that he created. Ah yes, nothing like politics to ruin a good country. In the end, the eccentric Nero was coerced to take his own life. But the coward couldn't bring himself to do it. So, he asked his servant to egg him on by slitting his own throat. It isn't clear if the servant followed the orders, but given Nero's persuasive abilities, it wouldn't be far-fetched to assume the worst. When he finally gathered enough courage, Nero put the sword to his throat and ran it through from one end to the other. I'm sure everyone breathed a sigh of relief at the death of Nero. Now there would be an end to crazy emperors and herald a new dawn, right? Sorry, no such luck. As next in line was Emperor Commodus. And boy did he prove them wrong. Nero was a sensual narcissist, but Commodus was a bloodhound. His love for combat sports saw him compete in over 100 gladiatorial battles, much to the annoyance of his citizens. However, Commodus didn't care. All he cared about was his undying passion for violence. He won all of his battles, not because he was the strongest or the most skilled gladiator, but because his enemies submitted to him due to his status as the emperor. And who would dare draw the emperor's blood? That would be like purchasing a one-way ticket to hell. At the height of his lunacy, Commodus reportedly gathered people who had no feet and clubbed them in the arena till they breathed their last, all the while pretending that his deformed opponents were giants. He slew hundreds of lions and reportedly shot ostriches with poisoned darts, all, I might add, to the displeasure and fury of his citizens. His end came when his mistress Marcia found out that she was on the list of people the emperor had planned to eliminate. Not to be outdone, Marcia consulted Latus and Eclectus, prefects of the Roman Empire, whose names were also on the said list. These three together poisoned Commodus, but the poison only made him temporarily ill, allowing him to live to fight another day. Later, they contracted Commodus's wrestling partner, Narcissus, who strangled him in his bath. Commodus was sent to meet his maker in 192 AD, but not without committing some of the worst crimes against humans and, should I say, animals. Interestingly, the Roman elite's immorality wasn't limited to orgies and violence, but transcended into fashion as well. The Roman society knew the repercussions of flaunting excessive wealth and therefore set sumptuary laws to regulate the dresses and accessories that the elite could wear. Anyone found displaying extravagant wealth through their choice of clothing and ornaments was punished. However, the rich always found a way of bending the rules to suit their lifestyle, and on the odd occasion when they were arrested, they threw money at the officers and walked away with their noses in the air. The women often wore exotic headdresses, tunics, and robes inspired by Persian and Egyptian styles. They usually styled their hair in intricate designs that would make Rapunzel green with envy, and they topped it all off with expensive ornaments and accessories. Not to be left out, the men were commonly found in garments made of expensive materials such as satin, silk, and fine wool. Their garments often featured detailed embroidery that distinguished them from the lower class. Aside from making bold statements with their fashion, the affluent in ancient Rome loved to spite the poor with their infrastructure. Like the celebrities of today, the rich in ancient Rome lived in exclusive palaces and buildings built with expensive materials. Their homes were equipped with every luxurious item they could afford, including private baths, gardens, theaters, and amphitheaters. The buildings themselves had beautiful, expensive designs that reflected the status of their owners. Life as an elite in ancient Rome was heaven on earth. These Roman elites lived lives on their own terms, even if it meant violating the sanctity of humanity. But did you know their female counterparts, the empresses, were no better? Click on this video here to watch Roman Empresses Unveiled, and I'll see you there. And until next time, thanks ever so much for watching.